All right, guys, welcome to the channel again. Yesterday's with the 3-day event in Mombasa for ODM. There are a lot of stories now revolving around ODM. I don't know what you think. We already did some, but we still feel there are a lot of things to actually go through. But before that, we have to also focus on Tanzania and Uganda, all right? The neighboring countries. And then I saw another country which we are supposed to focus on. Maybe tomorrow will be the day. And we still have this interest to focus on housing and the dream of Kenya being close to Singapore, what they have to do actually to get there. Yeah, so actually, here we are not just doing political analysis in terms of politics, but we are doing analysis to focus on what can be done, what is being done wrong, and what is popping, right? So I really appreciate most of you are coming out, watching and dropping your comments. I saw a comment, someone saying that Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be working with foreign individuals, possibly who will be focused on foreign ideas, and that is possibly his problem. I don't know how you think about this. Let me know about your thought. And the threat is now people fear that with foreign concepts, they may not be going to work for us. Yeah. Meanwhile, we have to start with this story of Kioko that has been trending. Now, so far, Kioko stand to be sworn, or rather sued, not sworn actually, but sued by the county of Machakos. And of course, we saw a letter just after Kioko had gone to the studio on Obina to reveal what had happened, and Obina actually aired it just like that, raw. Anybody would do that. Any YouTuber would do that. I beg. Now, I don't know why it happens that all along, people have been talking about that story, and the county never thought of suing anyone. But when it came to Obina Shaw, Wavinya Ndeti, or rather the county government of Machakos, now served him with a letter indicating that they are going to sue him. Is this a way to intimidate him? Is it real that they can sue him? Is it also actual that they don't know who Kioko is? Does it really mean that the sister to Kioko never supplied things that she was supposed to apply to actually deliver to the county of Machakos? Let's follow this story through Jackson and see some little bit of stuff here, because actually when I was looking at that story, I thought, what a shame not to pay an individual who has been battling, and I just didn't expect, I didn't just expect that this would be, I didn't just expect that this would be the turn of events, but it seems it's happening now, okay? Let me just do something here quick before we can proceed. All right, guys, so welcome. I'm still waiting for many of you to come. I'm still waiting for many of you to come, and I hope you are coming. I really appreciate you also for always coming back to watch me. Political stuff in the house. And as I said, Canadian Prospect again here. Thank you so much for showing up as we go into the political analysis of Kenyan, Tanzania, and Uganda aspects. And we are starting with the story that I've not placed on the title, but it's a very fundamental story about Kioko from Machakos. That story was aired. There's a problem actually for someone to hold a contract through another. it becomes a private process that is very complex. And when I look at what happened with Kioko, it seems that he solicited his funds, then he did contractual activities through the sister. The sister who is currently very sick and is unable to pursue the matters of payment. On the other hand, when you look at Wavinya Ndeti has been indicating that that the sister never managed to supply the contractual aspects up to the end. I don't know. The story has been in the limelight for long. I don't know why it happens that when they went to Obina Show, that is when Machakos County decided to sue him. You know, sometimes it's very absurd. It seems that maybe they know Obina has money. And remember, recently there was another group that was paying the county of Machakos. You remember the video? There's a video I did here, a kind of reaction. And people are actually calling Wavinya one time, indicating that they have now paid him. She can go ahead and pay the people. You remember? So now let's go through this story, but we'll be just doing a quick analysis as we go back to Tanzania story and more. Now look at this. This is Kioko, the guy standing. The girl in the wheelchair is the sister who is allegedly the supplier to Machakos County, and there is someone there helping. This is Wavinya Ndeti, the governor of Machakos. Now it happens that the guy standing has been complaining over around 19 million shillings that he has not been paid. I don't know how true that is. Anyway,
Machakos ikiongozwa na governor kwa jina Wavinya Ndeti. Unaona the way Wavinya Ndeti pamoja na hiyo county government yake walimtapeli mapesa mingi. Unaona walimtapeli milioni 19. Unaona
hao watu wako tu wakilipa hao watu wa make sure wameambia wale watu wawalipe. Hao watu ni very poor.
But and they are cleaning you see, for me, I've given somebody a contract. Isn't it? I've given them a contract. If I give you a contract and you're not able to maintain your contract, then that's a different thing. You understand? You cannot blame me. You cannot blame me, yes, as the governor for not paying them. For not paying them. So thank you so much guys for coming. Kabla sijaendelea guys, ningependa kwanza niweze kuwapongeza nyinyi for
all right guys.
Na kama vile ambavyo tunaona.
Now when you look at that situation, according to Wavinya Ndeti, she claims that the contract was never fully done. On the other hand, Kioko has been on interviews indicating the sister actually did supply. But when it came to payment, they came about a fight, more of a fight, you know. And I don't know how things happen, but it's unfortunate because the sister is unwell. I don't know. I would wish they would even carry her to the county government so that she speaks herself, so that they don't actually, because if Kioko did not supply the aspects or whatever they are talking about, they'll never pay him. That is clear. They'll never pay him because, of course, when you are supplying, I sell books personally, and when I sell books to a school, it is my name. The receipt is written in my name. And therefore, even if someone else goes to claim, they'll not be paid. It's supposed to be me. So it's unfortunate that sometimes when you are supplying stuff somewhere, the names of whatever you are supplying should read in line with whoever is supplying, because they ask for certificates, the KRA pin and all that. They are supposed to read your name. But if they read your sister, then you are not supposed to be the claimant. Maybe he was pursuing in good faith, hoping that they will understand him. But remember, county governments, as I said, I am very frail about supplying things through that process, because county governments has a lot of people who are interested to benefit from whatever you are supplying. So you'll find that people will prefer they pay whoever they understand, and they are going also to gain 10% than that whom they don't know. So possibly that is the situation that happened here. I don't know. Let's just look at this. So that is the guy, you know, that is the guy right there. Taking the sister to a for medical attention. And of course, Kioko indicated that he has been supplying elsewhere. but through the sister, because as a musician, he has never wanted to be known. So he's helping to take care of the sister and allow her to go for medication. And when she came back, she was unwell, so she couldn't deal with the heavy aspect of demanding for pay. And therefore, he was the one who was pursuing the pay and all over the places. But unfortunately, he went now to, Obina Show, and he was crying from there because he is stuck. The sister is sick. She can't ask for the money. But the people around Wavinya Ndeti were not ready to have him pay. Now he decides to go to Obina Show and share the information. But unfortunately, it turns out that the county government now had to actually, deal with the matters differently. It's unfortunate anyway. Okay? So we see him complaining here and there and showing how he had actually struggled to get money. Yeah? But Wavinya Ndeti has extremely shown interest in that, saying that she's being actually framed. So it's turning unfortunate for this guy. I don't know. It may just end up that maybe he may not be paid. But anyway, let's leave alone that story and go to Tanzania aspect, because that was not my major focus. Now, when you come to Tanzania, the President Suluhu at first was arguing that nothing has happened to the Tanzanian. She was indicating that the foreigners are the ones who drove the country into problems. However, we have around 300 youth from Tanzania who are finally arrested, and without even going to courts, they had been charged with treason. Now currently, of course, SAMIA has had to pardon them. Now let's look at this. She has had to pardon them. That happened on Friday. Now let's look at this.
The deaths witnessed in the election protests. Here now is Citizen TV's Ben Kirui.
She used the opening of Tanzania's 13th parliament to revisit the turmoil that followed the country's recent elections, outlining fresh measures aimed at restoring peace and unity, including the formation of a commission of inquiry to probe the deaths of hundreds.
Natoa pole kwa familia zote zilizopoteza wapendwa wao, na tunaomba Mwenyezi Mungu kama tulivyoomba awapumzishe kwa amani. Serikali imechukua hatua ya kuunda tume ya kuchunguza yaliyotokea, yani inquiry commission, ili tujue kiini cha tatizo.
Addressing 393 lawmakers who punctuated nearly every remark with applause, President SAMIA spoke of approaching the post-election period with a reconciliation in mind, announcing a pardon for individuals arrested and charged with treason for allegedly taking part in the election violence with intent to disrupt the polls.
Ninavyoelekeza vyombo vya sheria na hasa ofisi ya mkurugenzi wa mashtaka kuangalia kiwango cha makosa yaliyofanywa na vijana wetu. Kwa wale ambao wanaonekana walifuata mkumbo na hawakudhamiria kufanya uhalifu, wawafutie makosa yao.
Quoting the holy book, she said that as the mother of the nation, she believed that the more than 300 youth involved were driven by political excitement rather than any intention to plunge the country into chaos.
Natoa msamaha huo kwa sababu hata maneno ya Mwenyezi Mungu katika kitabu cha Luka sura 23 mstari wa 34 yanasema, na hapa nanukuu, Yesu akasema, Baba uwasamehe kwa kuwa hawajui watendalo.
In her speech, President SAMIA blamed foreign actors for the unrest, urging Tanzanians to resist external influence aimed at destabilizing their nation.
Tukubaliane jinsi ya kuendesha nchi yetu kidemokrasia kwa kuzingatia tamaduni, mila na desturi zetu na sio za kuletewa.
She further revealed that constitutional amendments will be undertaken within the next 100 days.
Serikali imeahidi kuanza kulifanyia kazi suala la mabadiliko ya katiba ndani ya siku 100 za muhula wa pili wa awamu ya 6 kwa kuanza na tume ya usuluhishi na maelewano.
Sometimes I really laugh at Tanzanians. When I look at how they run their parliament, like they have to applaud everything the president says, or rather, whenever they are speaking, people have to applaud so much. What is this? Anyway, it is their culture, but I find it so funny. So Suluhu actually came out to now for once announce that she was sorry for the families who lost their families, or rather, what am I saying? She's very sorry for the families who lost their young ones, or rather their sons and daughters in the fracas that just happened in Tanzania in the previous month, that is month, end of the month. She also came about now to acknowledge that some of the young people who have been arrested and charged with treason, they are not guilty because they did not know what they were doing. They were just excited. The only unfortunate bit is that she is claiming they borrowed from foreign people, or rather the foreigners influenced them. So she still has a very strong thought that the Tanzanians would not have done what they did if not for foreigners. How true is this? Is she still trying to silence the voices of Gen Zs in Tanzania? Does it mean that Tanzanians Gen Z are of a different breed? Does that tell us then that the Tanzanian people are still very mild and they don't have a mind of their own? Is she meaning that when all these 300 people or young people went to the street, they were, you know, just following suit of what foreigners were doing? Now, I also expected that she would talk about foreigners and be sorry for whatever happened to some foreigners who actually live in the country and were persecuted or rather killed for no reason. However, I didn't hear anything of that sort. Does it mean what she cares about is only what her country thinks and not what the externals think? Now, even up to now, we still have details about people who died in Tanzania, and of course in large numbers. But now the president didn't come out to show the numbers. The only number she shared was those whom she's ready to free, 300 young people, and I believe Nifa is among them. Nifa, remember, is an influencer who danced to the song Nyui Nyui Nyui, and then she was actually taken for treason for having also sold masks during the period, and it was indicated that she possibly was planning to have that kind of demonstration happening. I was like, if I have products which I sell in my shop and people are coming for them, would I not sell them? Yeah, so I'm looking at that part when she says this, and I'm like, what is Suluhu saying? Now let's look at it again.
Na hasa ofisi ya mkurugenzi wa mashtaka kuangalia kiwango cha makosa yaliyofanywa na vijana wetu. Kwa wale ambao wanaonekana walifuata mkumbo na hawakudhamiria kufanya uhalifu, wawafutie makosa yao.
Quoting the holy book, she said that as the mother of the nation.
So Luke had to save the nation. I'm like, this is a Muslim lady. Doesn't the Quran also have a part where it talks about forgiving those who didn't know that they were really doing something wrong? Anyway, let's look at another aspect of Tanzania news, giving us something else about Tanzania. The fact that we have had investigations going on, and it's now indicated clearly that reports of over 1,000 people were killed in Tanzania crackdown. So let's follow this. And why is it that Samia didn't talk about it in her moment when people are applauding in parliament? You know, that's why I'm finding it absurd. You may find me laughing and think that I'm actually enjoying the moment. Nah. So let's go for it.
Of deadly violence in Tanzania carried out by government security forces. Protests erupted there after the disputed October the 29th election of President SAMIA Suluhu Hassan. The opposition party, Chadema, says over 1,000 of those protesters were killed in what is an ongoing crackdown, a number that Hassan's government disputes. A warning that some of the images you're about to see in this next report may be disturbing to you.
In a small room somewhere in Tanzania, 32-year-old is in disbelief. He still can't make sense of how he got here, bedridden with bullet holes in his legs. The man, who does not want to be named, went out to fetch water when it happened. Police shot him at his doorstep the day after the elections.
I found myself on the ground. I looked at my legs and saw I was bleeding. That's when I looked up and saw the police, who were aiming down at me. If my upper body had been in a different position, I think they would have shot me in the head.
Juma, as we're calling him, is still shaken. He's also traumatized and understandably cautious, initially refusing to speak to us, convinced we were intelligence agents. He's agreed to tell his story so people can know what happened. The full extent of the violence after the disputed poll is still unknown, but clues have been emerging. Like these images that appear to show armed men using violent force against protesters. The exact number of the dead is still unknown. Some rights groups say it could be in the hundreds. This resident tells us what he saw.
I heard loud sounds. Pop, pop. It was gunshots. I stood and saw a body here, a body there, another one there in pools of blood. I felt so confused I couldn't even run. It's true that people have died. Many people have died. I witnessed to restore unity in the country. Now our country is calm and everyone is following the rule of law.
Spain sending him back to election day.
And we can speak now to Faraja Christomas, who's a media and political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us. We have very little confirmed information coming out of Tanzania. So can you tell us any more about the current situation there?
And the business is normalizing, even though we are still cautious. Some people are taking much caution because we don't know, and these people are always unknown to us. We call them unknown assailants. They are the people who can attack you, who can take you and make you disappear without even identifying them. So it is sometimes difficult to know who is following you and who has put a tail on you. So we are a little bit cautious by the situation that's happening in many cities where the altercations happened, like in Dar es Salaam, Mbeya, Arusha, Mwanza, Kahama, Dodoma, and some other small towns where the altercations happened. But still, the business is normalizing. But the impacts of the events is still there. We still feel the impacts in our country.
So it sounds like things are a little calmer, but there's a really
there's a blackout here. I don't know whether the power is off or something. I have to rectify that. Let me bring whatever is necessary. So we have to rectify what is necessary before we can continue, and I hope it will not affect my we are in the dark now, but I think it's just power off. We are supposed to buy some, so Canadian Prospect says, in the delusion of maintaining harmony, you refuse to believe that your kids are bad, but rather stay convinced it's neighbors' kids that badly influence your kids. It's true. This happens even to parents. Actually, you find a lot of parents, even at school, telling you that my daughter is just good, but the friends are bad. So that is happening to the Tanzanian leader, and I don't know for how long she's going through this delusion that is making her believe that Kenyans are the problem and not Tanzanian. But actually, you can see from the crackdown news that is being shared by maybe the president of other countries, and I don't know, for whatever reason. Sasa hii itani affect watu wa kuview. Alafu na kuturn camera ni shida sasa. Let me just put on the electricity, then see what to do. I don't know how long it will take, but please, once you see me back, come back and continue watching. It's unfortunate. I didn't expect this to happen. So let me see, maybe 4 to 5 minutes maximum. All right, guys, we are back, but the power is just going to come. I hope so. In a few minutes, we've rectified the necessary aspects, and we now continue. So when you look into Tanzania, I fear that the democracy Tanzania is talking about, the democracy that Mama Suluhu is talking about, the fact that they are really promising to amend the constitution. Do we have that openness? Because when we look at the reports from the other side, international news people, what they are giving is very different from what Suluhu is actually giving on the other front. And I'm afraid from what one of the political analysts in Tanzania is sharing here, they are still afraid. They are not very comfortable. According to them, those people who come and arrest them are not actually known to them. You can imagine in a country where you're operating with individuals whom you don't know, kind of people who can randomly attack. You see, when you look at the streets, even during the demonstration, the people who were firing and shooting, they were not actually familiar to people. They were dressing like civilians, but they were holding big rifles and shooting whenever they wanted. Now, when you look at this kind of journey in Tanzania, you see a problem. Remember the other day, even the president of Kenya actually said clearly that Tanzania has not even started democracy journey. They have not started the journey of democracy yet. So I just want to understand, as Suluhu is actually promising to have democracy, is she ready for democracy really? Because if, for example, your kids in the house say something, then you say, these kids are just saying so because the neighbor's kids told them to say so. And so I forgive them. I forgive them. But I know it is the neighbor's kids who influenced them. Do you expect that tomorrow these kids will not do something and again now you punish them or even kill them because now you believe that they are just too much? That is exactly what I'm saying, because now what kind of amendment of the constitution are they going to conduct? Is Suluhu ready to have international bodies intervening? Now that she keeps saying that foreign behaviors are being brought around, she has also said that when they are amending the constitution, they'll amend within their own jurisdiction, that they'll not allow foreign influence to affect their decision. Kwa hivyo nikauliza, Tanzania iko tayari kweli kuwa na demokrasia? I don't think so. Yeah, power is back. I was in darkness, but we were still proceeding because I knew the problem and we were amending it. Yeah, so clearly, when I look at Suluhu, I don't think she's ready for democracy. She's only playing it cool because she knows the consequence of what was happening in Tanzania. Maybe she's trying to cool down so that now the foreign nations and amnesty activists and all those who wanted to intervene can keep her quiet or shut up. Then she continues with her way of ruling her own home. Anyway, I want us to look at something here, just briefly. Ametoa msamaha kwa sababu hawakujua wanachokifanya. Really? Like that is real? Anyway, that's Tanzania for you. I don't think I have so much about Tanzania because we go by their aspects slowly by slowly. But I want us to look at something else from a different perspective. I was just, remember I shared with you the aspect of Uganda. So Uganda Museveni actually was interviewed just after that Bobi Wine aspect, and he was indicating that he's now ready to get out of leadership, but then he should know who is taking over. Oh my goodness, it's like you are bedridden, but you are still saying, I have to know whom I'm handing over the mantle as a president, and elections are due. Why can't he just let it, he doesn't want to, Bobi Wine, among others, to just contest freely and then get it. We've seen a lot of Bobi Wine team are being waylaid. Even the other day, when Museveni was explaining about the aspect of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Olo, and he was saying that they were going to organize for demonstrations. I was like, which demonstrations were supposed to be conducted in Uganda? What I understand is campaigns are ongoing. But according to Museveni, anyone who is freely going about talking to people is preparing for demonstrations. And when Bobby Wine was released, and when Bob Njagi and Nicholas Olo were released, he clearly said that these were active people who have been engaging demonstrations in Kenya. I was surprised because I'm a Kenyan and I've never heard that those are the two organized for those. Anyway, it is what it is. Now I want us to check briefly on Museveni, because the Uganda people have been urging me, talk about Uganda, talk about Uganda. So let me talk about Uganda briefly here.
Not have much to offer because they don't seem even to understand what they put. Because what are the other fellows saying exactly? What are they saying? Museveni again there. In Kenya, I have no problem. I have got a very safe address. I can go, but the issue is you, Uganda. Yeah. It's not me. Me, I have no problem. I've never had any problem. So that's why.
My goodness, my good people. Museveni says he has never had a problem with Kugenda. Kugenda is to go away from leadership. When a Ugandan tells you to gendeo, they are telling you let's go. So he's saying that people like Nyagalanye, who is Bobby Wine, is simply, his party is simply saying that Museveni agende, which means Museveni should go. Okay? So he says that he does not understand the ideologies or philosophies of people like Bobby Wine because they simply say that he should go, but they have nothing to offer according to him. So he's ready to go only if he's able to get someone who is ready to offer something to Uganda. Is this true? What do you think? What do you think? So according to him, he says he has no problem, he can go, he has a very good address, but he's worried about Ugandans. Do you believe that Ugandans are also so much attached to Museveni and they want him around? The last election, according to the results, I don't know whether they were cooked or whether they were real, Museveni got 50, was it 57? 57 during the election period. Okay. So Odongo was saying it's a total lie. I don't know what Museveni is saying or what I'm saying. Maybe I'll be now checking on the computer. Unfortunately, the phone has just refused to show the charts, but let's see. So, actually, Museveni is such a person that is so funny in what he says and what he does. The other day, anyway, let's look at what he says again.
We are saying, Banang, from what I hear, those presidents may not have much to offer because they don't seem even to understand what the problem is.
Your Excellency, now against that background, I would love you to start us off by explaining to our listeners why you think indeed the people of Bugisu should again trust you with the mandate to serve them as the head of state of this country. Your Excellency.
Well, it's not trusting me, it is trusting the NRM. Because the NRM has come out of the history of Uganda. Uganda had become a failed state, mainly because of ideology. Because the leaders towards independence, majority of them believed in the politics of identity, manipulating identity, religion, and tribes. There was some national ones like Musazi, but they were isolated. They were outmaneuvered by the traditional groups, like in the case of Buganda and the churches. they undermined the Uganda National Congress, which had started in 1952, and that's how we ended up with these sectarian groups like DP for the Catholics, the UPC for the Protestants, and Kawakayaka for the Waganda. And that was the crisis. So, some of us, in fact, all of us, the pioneers of the NRM, initially belonged to those groups. I was in.
Yeah, so Museveni says that according to him, he says that NRM is the trusted movement in Uganda. DP, DCP, and those others are identity groups. Some belonging to Catholic, a religious group, another one to Protestant, and another one to Baganda, which is a tribal. But NRM is the only force that came out and people trust it. So he says that it's not about him, but it's about their party. And I'm surprised. My question is, does it mean then in Uganda and that NRM, they don't have any other individual who is ready to vie? Because at once, Museveni told us that the only way he'll walk out of his position is when someone goes to the bush and removes him from leadership. But now here is he has now changed the story, saying he's ready to go, but only if he's so sure that the hand of that Uganda is left in good hands. And the other day, of course, in an interview, he said that Uganda is being fought by foreign organizations, that foreign organizations want to own Uganda and do a lot of business with it, but he has blocked them. He said that all companies in Uganda, they are Uganda-based, and none of them is foreign. And therefore, that is why the foreign are actually invading and sponsoring the children to actually create. It's absurd, right? He even said that Uganda is now up, and they have finally found oil, that very soon they'll be refining oil and they'll be independent. I don't know. What do you think about this? Of course, when I look at Uganda compared to Kenya, because we can easily access the borders of Busia and Malaba, I don't know why products are so cheap in Uganda. I have never understood. The products in Uganda are cheap, and even the cars, the vehicles are cheap. I don't know how it happens in Uganda. I don't understand. But anyway, we have to get to understand or listen more. But let me also check on my channel to see those who are chatting and see what ideas they have. I always like doing that because I may be talking here, but someone is raising maybe a question or a concern. But thank you so much for keeping it live and watching. And I'll encourage you to maybe drop your comments. Continue dropping your comments as we continue. Who else has chatted? Since Odongo Enoch said that's a total lie, maybe whatever Museveni was saying, I've not seen someone else chatting. But let's continue to watch. And very soon we'll be watching Jamaica before we come back to Kenya. I've also seen a problem with the two countries, South Africa, of course, and Nigeria the other day. And we also have to talk about another nation, but not today, maybe tomorrow. So let's continue to listen to Museveni.
DP, the Kategayas and Rugundas were in UPC.
Yeah.
People like Sam and Juba were in Kawakayeka. So, but by 1965, we had seen the bankruptcy of these groups and the danger. So we started saying, you know, what is crucial for the country is not identity. What is crucial is interest. All these people you are playing around with have interests. They have hunger. Hunger is hunger. There's no bagisu hunger. There's no bateso hunger. in Europe undermined feudal loyalties. Because somebody will say, you are my people, you are my people, you are my people. I think you have heard that, you are my people, you are my people. But if you are not buying my products, what use are you to me? That's why, like in the case of Germany, Bismarck was able to push pan-Germanism to unite, because by the problem is that the intellectual class here has got so many gaps. By 1870, there was no Germany. There were German people. And they thought we were joking. We started telling them that, for them they were saying, blood is thicker than water. You know, you have heard that statement.
Oh, yes.
Blood is thicker than water, meaning your tribe is very important. In fact, the Wanyakara also say, that the hyena from your area will eat you in a better way than...
It will be merciful while eating you.
To sort out the whole thing in 1986. So from 1986...
So you see, guys, when you listen to Museveni, all he does is to focus on history and prove that he saved Uganda. He is asked a simple question, but he goes in rounds, he goes historical, he spends a lot of time explaining to make people understand why he's still on the seat and to justify the fact that he should still run for 2027. But of course, we've seen a lot of stories surrounding the fact that he wants the son to take over, and the son is currently in the army, Muhoozi. General Muhoozi. And now there is the story that erupted about Museveni being interested in the Indian Ocean. Is this true? Let's get to hear from him. We don't want to keep having rumors on the streets. We want to hear from the horse's mouth. Then we'll come back to Kenya and look at the different aspects happening right there.
But that ocean belongs to me. Because where is my ocean? I'm entitled to that ocean. In future, we are going to have wars. The Americans are now saying they want to be superior in land forces, on land. They want to be superior in the air force. They want to be superior at sea, navy. They want to be superior in space. And they have all been to the moon. The Americans have been to the moon, the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians have now gone. You fellows, you are here on Earth. Those fellows are on the moon, looking at you like insects. I don't like to be in that situation. That's why I say, you people, why don't you see how to unite? Because Uganda, even if you wanted to build a navy, how can you build it? We don't have access to the sea. The political organization in Africa is so irrational. Some of the countries have no access to the sea. For economic purposes, but also for defense purposes, you are stuck. How do I export my products? That's why we have got endless discussion with Kenya, then this one stops, then another one comes, then the railway, the pipeline, the what, we discuss. But that ocean belongs to me. Because where is my ocean? I'm entitled to that ocean. In the future, we are going to have wars. In the future, we are going to have wars. How can you say that you are in a block of flats, that the compound belongs to only the flats on the ground floor, that the compound belongs to the whole block. All the flats are entitled to the compound.
Yeah.
There's no way you can say. So may I just go, these people, you are really endangering yourself. How can you have a situation?
Hey, guys, you know, when we began to hear that General Muhoozi is threatening about Nairobi City, was it the year 2002 or somewhere, 2022? Yeah. It was such an absurd situation. Now you can see Museveni is being interviewed in his country, and all he has to tell his people is that Indian Ocean belongs to him, and that in future, if Kenya is not budging, then there's going to be war. He has even clearly said that he cannot only own the compound and not the houses in the compound. It's so absurd. And now, do you realize how Kenya downplayed that threat? They just downplayed it and said there is nothing much. But you can see, Museveni has been a mild person a little bit than his son. His son, Muhoozi, is more aggressive. And let's say the truth, Muhoozi is aggressive than the father. And when he listens to the father saying what he's saying, what do you think he takes it for? So I'm scared, as he's saying, that Kenya is going to endanger itself in future. And he wants to build a military base on the ocean, just like Americans do, on the moon, on the sun, on the what. So I'm like, he's using his personal interests to actually pursue the Indian Ocean. Anyway, let's listen a little bit more before we can get to other discussions for Kenya, Jamaica, then Kenya.
Like this. Uganda is landlocked inside here. But where is my ocean? My ocean is the Indian Ocean. No, it belongs, really, me. I'm on the top floor of the block. And then you say the compound belongs only the ones on the ground floor. This is madness. So that's why I say, you people, you better unite economically for the sake of prosperity, if you want prosperity. Market. But if you want stability and also strength in the world, so that you can go and to the moon also, you go to the moon. The ones who have been to the moon are big ones, not small people. Superpowers. Because the Americans, the Chinese, the Russians, and the Indians now. Our friends, the British, are still here with us. On Earth, they have not gone. They had to go. It's too much. One country can't manage. The French are here with us. All these fellows, except those four, because size matters. So that's why we say, you people, why don't you look at East Africa so that you deal with the issue of strategic security? These are the 7 points in the manifesto.
Thank you.
If you have got economic integration, it can help with the economy. But how about defense? How do we defend ourselves? The Americans are now saying they want to be superior in land forces, on land. They want to be superior in the air force. They want to be superior at sea, navy. They want to be superior in space. And they have all it's very easy for you to succeed there. So that's why we said, and we were reading also history, European history.
Yeah.
That's enough. I want money for my family. I want to build a better house. So that's how we started really.
Okay, so for those of you who have pursued history, you understand that Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania used to work together. Even in terms of education, Nairobi University used to be the major in supplying engineers. The University of Dar es Salaam used to supply which specific cadre? Then University of Kampala used to supply, I think it was it lawyers? And then doctors was it Tanzania, the University of Dar es Salaam. And then there was which other? There was another university or college kind of. And that arrangement collapsed. When it collapsed, now it came out that Uganda operates on its own, Tanzania and Kenya. Now they came up with this East African collaboration. And then now currently we have African Union. But what is it actually doing? What are we seeing that this union is doing? We saw what happened the other day in Tanzania. And there is no way AU came in to intervene. I can't actually testify that AU helped in any way. So what Museveni is actually saying here, to some point we may wish that it happens, that East Africa unites fully and they collaborate in trade, defense, and many other things. But there is a risk there, and especially when SAMIA is actually thinking that Kenyans are aggressive, they are not supposed to be invading her nation. When Museveni is also arresting Kenyans who go there, like Bob Njagi and Nicholas. So how do you think these people can sit together and work collaboratively? The other day, of course, Bob Njagi and Olo was trying to show us that the abductions are collaborative. But it's only that one is at selfish personal level. But now let's look at regional growth. What Museveni is saying may help, but then how do they begin? How do they begin? But then now pointing out the Indian Ocean as belonging to whether it's Tanzania, Uganda, or Tanzania. You know, I look at Indian Ocean and how it really moves. And I wonder when Museveni says we are on the first floor, Uganda is on the second floor. Or is it them? Yeah, they are on the second floor. And they are saying that they also own Indian Ocean. These are very difficult discussions actually to talk about, you know. My goodness.
The chair of AUC was elected, I wrote him a very long letter. And I told him, please stop holding meetings. Implement. Because Africa has solutions and resolutions about everything. On agriculture, on health. Abuja, 2001 in Abuja, we said all African countries are going to spend 15% of their budget in the health sector. Not one except Mauritius and Rwanda, who have reached 8%. We are importing maize from Brazil that was meant for cows. Because we are disunited. I go to Juba, flying for 55 minutes or 1 hour, 20 minutes, depending on the equipment. Sudanese pound, South Sudanese. I must now look for the dollar. Europe and America love it when we are confused and divided. China loves it when we are confused and divided. Look at the Arab world. Look at little Qatar. Last week, Norway hit the sovereign fund of Norway. You can Google as I talk. Has now stuck 2 trillion. Which means notionally every Norwegian has to his or her credit $384,000. Sini binadamu kama sisi tu. We must identify our priorities. Unfortunately, we don't. And until the day that we identify our priorities, we are going nowhere. We now are talking about the Konza technology. The South Koreans are very deeply involved, but will there be transfer of technology after they leave? Perhaps we will not have it. We are talking about, as I speak to you now, the university, public university have been on strike for almost a month. That is a national crisis and emergency. Have you heard our parliament meet that there is a national crisis?
Hey, when I listen to that, I see that we are so far from where we want to head. You know, sometimes when you're talking about reaching your destination, you have to start the journey. And before you start the journey, you must have a plan. And before you have a plan, of course, you must have priorities, as Pierre Lumumba has just told us. You start with priorities, then get to the plan, then you start your journey, and you get where you want to go. Now, I just played that intentionally because I had just come from MUSEVENI's talk about Africa or East Africa and where we need to go. The interest is not in conflict, because when they start to fight for Indian Ocean, how will it help? It won't help. I don't think it will help. But when we prioritize and when we actually look around, we prioritize, we establish the problems, then we prioritize our problems, and then we begin the journey to solve them. That is how we are going to solve the problem of Africa or East Africa. Because currently, we have a lot of problems. Look at South Sudan. Look at Ethiopia. Look at Nigeria. Look at Cote d'Ivoire. Look at Cameroon. Look at Tanzania. Look at Uganda. Look at Kenya. We have a lot of problems. But then, General Muhoozi comes out and says, I am coming for the Indian Ocean. That is not a solution to anything. Even if they want to settle and have a basis for their defense, the solution is not in Indian Ocean. There are so many other things which are priorities to talk about here. So anyway, I want us to look at Jamaica after we listen a bit to Pierre Lumumba here, and we go to Jamaica.
The Greeks divided their society in the following way. There were those whom were called idiots, washenzitu. Then there are tribalists and citizens. The idiots don't care what is happening. They are the ones who, when they are drinking water from this bottle and they get out there, they just throw the bottle out. They think somebody will collect it. Idiots. And you see it with our matatu culture, with our border culture. Idiots. Then there are tribalists. People who don't look at merit. And then there are citizens. People who want the best for their countries. And I'm answering your question by saying Africans must love themselves. You know, I was looking at the GDP, not that GDP is a good measure, but is an acceptable measure. The GDP of Singapore, Singaporean population, I think it is not more than 5 million. The GDP of Singapore is bigger than all the 8 East African countries combined. 8 of them. 589. If you look at today's statistics which have been released, Kenyan GDP is 136, Tanzanian is 87, Ugandan is 67, Rwanda is 14, Burundi is 7.5 billion, South Sudan is 4.5. That is our GDP. What do they have? The mind is the standard.
Hey, I don't want to listen more because I'll just be desperate and disillusioned. Anyway, now we have to come to Jamaica, then now stamp our authority on Kenya. We are already 1 hour into our time. Now look at Jamaica, guys. After the Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica, this is how most of the farmers are finding their homes looking like.
Such a move people like Peter Log. Go out there, see something. the case wicked. Yeah, man. Yeah. A little setback, but at least we can do something and start again. Yeah, man. So, remember, nice pretty on them people. See, they look like, you know, we can still get back, get new head people. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. See.
Welcome to Fuvi
Advancements, Fuvi. Oh my God, Fuvi.
The banking them tear off there. Yeah. Some people. Wow, one crooks that, you know. Some people. They still did it, you know. Yeah, man. The plummeting. Yeah, man. We nice to them from dead off, still no people. Yeah. But most of them still alive. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know it.
All right, so that's just a brief aspect of what has happened in Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa. It was not a good moment, actually. A lot of homes were destroyed. So many people were landlocked, and they were forced actually to live on foreign donations and all that. So let me come back to Kenya now. Kenya, my country, my motherland. All right. So here in Kenya, I'm just surprised at what is happening with the president now going for campaign. He's gone to campaign mode. Is it panic? I just don't know. Is it panic after actually seeing Kalonzo endorsed in Bondo? Is it panic after maybe the Ukambani people questioning a lot, and also the young people getting to the streets to chase the vehicles away? Is it because DCP has been moving across the country? Is it because of the by-elections of 25th November, or what is happening? Because I'm surprised that the sitting president, the incumbent president, is now going around the country doing much of campaigns. He went to Mumiasi, he has been in Kitui, Machakos, Makueni. Now, while in Mombasa also, he seemed to be much of campaigning. But anyway, let's look at what our president said. What our president said right here.
To rejoin the party for the 2027 presidential polls.
Acha hiyo story. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Yeah. Mnasema nirudi nyumbani, si niko nyumbani tayari. It is a problem. Sikizeni.
So you realize that part ODM members were trying to tell the president to rejoin ODM. All right. Of course, they welcomed him to the event, and from his speech, he said that the former, chair, that is not the former chair, the founder of the party, that is Raila Odinga, had welcomed him into the event, and that is why he would not miss. And he said that he dressed in orange, which is ODM, but yellow, which represents his party, and then he mixed it to mean broad-based government. So absurd. But anyway, if you understand the politics, you know what it means. It's actually telling us that maybe ODM and Kenya Kwanza are joining to form something. And we are going to see it, guys. We are going to see it. Let's just watch our space. But I suspect there is something coming up. So Ruto actually made fun of that. But that was a statement that ODM members were trying to request. And of course, when you listen to the members from ODM, most of them were speaking and saying that they want to be in government or part of government. That was a very heavy statement, meaning that they know what they are planning for in future. It is only a matter of time, and we'll know what they are focusing on. Now let's listen.
You know, if, I was teasing, you know, after the elections, many of you
may not know. As William Ruto, I was in this election, this past election of 2022, people were having sleepless nights. My team were having sleepless nights. Me, I was sleeping because it didn't matter to me who won the election.
Really?
27. Broad-based. Broad-based. You can baptize it, but broad-based. Under His Excellency William Samuel Ruto.
Because how are we going to implement our policies if we don't have power? If you are going for demonstrations,
We have Akamau, we have Mwangi, Maina, we have so many of them. We are a part of the ODM that is in broad-based government.
the cake is now cut.
So Mumbi Ngaru, okay, had to come in and challenge the aspect of when we see Gachagua saying that the central people, or rather the Mlima, are not included. Now the cake was cut. I don't know the rumor about Obura Odinga spitting the cake. Let me see. What do you think happened?
I saw Wako here. Wako. Wako.
Our party leader and the enduring face of the movement, whose untimely passing remains a great loss to our people. ODM under Raila has midwifed stability and transitional and smooth transition.
All right, so you heard that they'll have a broad-based arrangement. They can baptize it however they want to. Now, what is it telling you? This collaboration between ODM and Kenya Kwanza is not to end today or tomorrow. And that is why when President Ruto was in Kakamega, he clearly said that the only part he was scared about was Baba. But now that Baba is gone, hao wengine wa sufuria kichwani hawezi mshtua. Hawata mshtua. My goodness. Now, of course, you remember Robert Alai and Millie Ojambo actually came up to reveal something. You know? Like they are expressing that the different ideologies in the party. Of course, we had also Babu trying to show why he was actually not given a position. And then we saw the difference in speech of Orengo versus Wandai. Orengo versus Joho, you know, Sifuna versus that other. So clearly, Winnie versus Oburu. So there was a lot of confusion, of course, a lot of confusion that was clearly seen in the 20 years of celebration of that moment. And during that moment of the cake, I just wanted to see something. I don't know whether it will come out, but why did Oburu actually take the cake and spit it? Why? Yeah? So actually the president has begun the campaigns to actually prepare himself to take over leadership through ODM or whatever arrangement they are going to have. Yeah? Let's just see something here. There is something I want to see. So he was pleading with re-election for re-election. And of course, clearly ODM seems to be ready to offer him because majority of the people in that party, even though they are saying they don't want to be swallowed, I don't think they have an option. Do you see an option? I don't see. They don't seem to have any strategy. Because as far as they are saying Arati is preparing for 2032. They also said Sifuna is preparing for 2032, you know. And that clearly just tells you that ODM is not ready for to raise actually a candidate for 2027. Yeah. Possibly they are going to make a different arrangement here. And of course to Nyamira.
Welcome to the Rajas Kakasungura
To Nyamira, I want to take it to Nyamira. I don't know whether I'll find the video. Nyamira, of course, MPs were chased away for selling UDA. What is happening in Kisii? Let's just check something here. I'm struggling to get that video.
Welcome, ladies.
But bear with me. It happens. It happens.
What they are planning.
Ndugu yangu senator ameongea mambo ya protest. Hiyo protest senator tuachane naye. Kuna mwenye atapanga hiyo maneno. Ngama jesango tunto to mautkenate. Changa lekte mitayo. So protest tuko sawa. Mambo ya deputy na mambo ya na president. Hiyo ni kitu walipata wanajua. Sio lazima tuwaambie. Hii ingine yote tutawapangia na itakuwa sawa. Tunataka tushikanishe inji iwe moja. Magamache kotabi huyo yani kakutao ngwererge sijui kamine. So tuende pole pole. Mambo itakuwa sawa. Kita na muhimu senata kimeje ngejongera 2027.
That is Sudi for you. That is Sudi for you, guys. But I wanted this video whereby the MPs were sent away in Kisii for selling UDA. I don't know. I can't get the video right away. But let me just bring you Odoye Owidi speaking about ODM. And then maybe we'll be coming to an end right there so that I can go to my other channel, do something for 30 minutes and sleep.
To fix Yaya. Before he comes talking about President William Ruto. If he wanted to be talking about President William Ruto, he should have remained as a senator or gone as an MP. Then he can oversight. He is himself sitting on a similar seat to President William Ruto's, albeit small, and in his seat, there is no performance, there is no delivery, there is no achievement, there is no output. Hakuna kitu.
I hear you, Mwalimu. As we are shifting gears, allow me to remind our viewers to kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel.
And that is now a big deal that we should not talk about. Let me tell you something. When he's talking about Luos once we have 6 ministers, I don't know when was that. I do not know when was that. Even during Kenyatta, we never had 6 ministers. The largest we had was, the highest number, I think, was 5 at one time. And then we had 4 during the coalition government between Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki. But, you know, there is something that bishop doesn't know. The mathematics of relativity. His figures are absolute. When you tell us that we had 6 or 4. We had 4 ministers when the cabinet was 44. We have 3 ministers when the cabinet is 22. And why do I say also relativity? Beyond that, there is also the fact that in this time we have multi-party. That means there is a side which has largely supported and voted for the government. Then there is a side which opposed the government. It is common knowledge in Africa that regions which opposed the government rarely get appointed to government. But President William Ruto, even before the broad-based, had Eliud Owalo in government, had General Ogola, the first ever Luo CDF in this republic, had Dr. Raymond Omolo, the second interior PS ever in this country.
But there was no this kind of excitement, kind of ululation and jubilation. We are not sleeping.
I will tell you
the 2 cabinet secretaries.
I will tell you the reason. We are not 2, we are 3. An attorney general is a cabinet minister in charge of justice and constitutional affairs. That's an attorney general.
What the bishop is saying, that these people are giving us sleepless nights. Atulali, now are we too?
It is him who is not sleeping. We are now sleeping better. It is the bishop who is not sleeping out of jealousy. Let me tell the bishop.
Tell him
The only executive CS in any country, Kenya included, is the finance. Finance minister, finance CS is the only one with executive powers. So, and when we take these holidays to every county, the stadium there is taken over and rebuilt to completion by the president. If there is an airstrip on an airport, it is redone to world standards. Wherever President William Ruto goes, new roads are being built. Yet, if you look at the collection of Kenyan revenue, we collect about 2.6 trillion. 1.1 trillion pays debts. 900 billion pays recurrent expenditure. The county governments take 450 billion. What is left? Yet President William Ruto is still doing all these things. Where is this money they are saying President William Ruto is stealing? I hear you, Mwalimu.
Maji chama cha zamani zaidi cha upinzani nchini ODM kinakabiliwa na mojawapo ya misukosuko mikubwa katika historia yake. Mvutano.
And that person was Baba Raila Amolo Odinga.
All right, guys, I can't spend a lot of time continuing to discuss because I think we've seen whatever is happening. There's a lot happening, whether it's in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. And of course, tomorrow I plan to talk about Ethiopia. There is something happening in Ethiopia, Senegal, Senegal, Nigeria, and now Kenya. So I really appreciate all of you for coming handy to watch me. Patrick Mbono says his in stories are Abunuasi. Let him answer the question direct, not talking as round. Hey, the people who like talking in circumlocutions, you know, they take you until you get tired. So people who use stories and history, it's because they know our mind gets tired. So when they know that we are not going to listen, they avoid hitting home. And they'll take us stories until we get tired. And that is what happens even with politicians. When they come to address us, they'll start talking in stories so that we get tired and we switch off. And once we switch off, when they say whatever they'll say, you will not get it. So I really appreciate, I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you for your love and always showing up to me. I really thank you. For supporting me big time, and this is really inspiring me to keep doing a lot of content out of Kenya, because there is a lot happening around us actually, and I wish that tomorrow I research into Ethiopia. There is a possible problem going to happen. Abdallah, poa sana. Eyekon, I remember you very well. I'm almost coming to an end, and I really appreciate. Thank you so much for showing up. I also have to appreciate Canadian Prospect who watched my 2 videos today. You are on my 2 live streams. I've done 3 live streams. He was able to watch 2. Odongo Enoch, thank you so much. Patrick Mbono, I appreciate your presence here. And I know there are very many of you who are also watching me, but maybe you may not have come to the chat. So thank you so much. I wish you a good night if you are going to sleep. If it's during daytime in your country, I wish you a good day and success in your endeavors. Yeah. So thank you so much. Keep it real. Tomorrow I'll be again here. I hope there will be electricity during the day. But even if it's not, I may wake up early. If I realize there will be a problem with power, I may wake up at 6 and begin my first live stream at 6 to cover matters of Ethiopia, Senegal, and Nigeria. Then later on, I do a video on the Apalosa that I've just arrived in Nyabohanse, Marwa's home. And maybe more. Mayugno is doing very good on his end. So, Elkan, thank you so much for your appreciation. Abdallah, good day too. Asanteni sana na washukuru wote. Maybe some of you are from Tanzania, wengine from Rwanda. I've been seeing people from Nigeria, people from South Africa, Sudan, and all over the places. Na washukuru, Mungu awabariki. May God really bless you abundantly. Canada, even America. I saw one from Brazil. I saw another one from Asia, that is India. I also saw another person from Indonesia. Then there was someone who told me they're from USA. I appreciate, and I may not know where others are coming from, but I really appreciate all of you for coming to my channel, watching me. Please subscribe. There are so many of us who watch, but we don't subscribe. I really request you to subscribe to the channel, and also talk to your friends, let them subscribe to the channel also. We are targeting 4,000 subscribers at the end of the month. I can see we are already at date 16, which is halfway of the month. So our target, guys, remember our target, and may God bless you as you go to your other endeavors. As you continue watching, may God also enhance your plans and your work, the work of your hands. And please also watch my vlogs and other reactions that I'm doing all over the channel. I really thank you. You coming handy, and that is great. Bye bye for now. See you later.